So my DSM-5 paper and presentation, I chose The Good Place. The Good Place is a television show about a woman named Eleanor that had passed away, and she had went to the good place when she really felt like she belonged in the bad place. The witty humor and the quirkiness of Eleanor makes the show fun to watch, but as the time goes on, the seasons go on, you kind of see that fun sense of humor is Eleanor's way of coping with her trauma. While using the knowledge I've acquired thus far in the research material I was provided in abnormal psychology, I was able to diagnose Eleanor by using her past, present, and current symptoms. Eleanor Shellstrop was a selfish, lazy, and rude person on Earth. When looking at Eleanor, we would not think of her as a good person. She spent her time on Earth tricking and manipulating others to get them to do what she wanted them to. Eleanor was that typical mean girl that made fun of anyone and everyone while having no true friends. I think a lot of those characteristics really stem from her childhood. Eleanor Shellstrop, she had a really rough upbringing and her parents were very absent. One of the very first memories in the show that Eleanor has of her mom is she was around 6 at the time, and her mom had left their family dog in the car on a really hot day, and the dog ended up passing away from heat exhaustion. And instead of Eleanor's mother telling her, she kind of just blew it off. The dog's at a farm to go play, don't worry about it. Until eventually she just real brashly, rudely told Eleanor to kind of just shut up. The dog's actually dead, buried in a handbag under the porch. Go bring me another bottle of wine and be quiet. And that was just really traumatic for Eleanor. I think the real turning point was on her 14th birthday. Both of her parents forgot. So Eleanor she was like, that's it. I'm going to be emancipated. And both of her parents agreed and they signed the papers. And at the age of 14, she was living in her own apartment. She was working a couple jobs and she really had no contact with her parents after that. She ended up working for a scam pharmaceutical company that was taking advantage of the elderly and making them feel like they needed to buy these pills in order to survive, when really these pills were just placebo, sugar, chalk pills, like not even anything. They were just scamming for money. And Eleanor is one of the top sellers at the company, and I think that says a lot about Eleanor's character. When Eleanor had passed away she woke up in the good place, and all of these people were commemorating her and, saying how such a great person she was, and Eleanor knew something was off. She was thinking that's not me. I was not a good person. But she didn't want to say anything because she was scared to death that she was going to go to the bad place. So she made it her goal while she was there to become a better person. And she tried, but you can just see that the old habits, they consume her, and she continues to put her wants and needs before others. So one of the DSM-5 diagnoses I have come up with is reactive attachment disorder. Reactive attachment disorder is classified as a trauma and stressor related condition of early childhood caused by social neglect and maltreatment. Children affected by this have a difficulty forming emotional attachments to others, show a decreased ability to experience positive emotion, cannot seek or accept physical or emotional closeness, and may react in violent outbursts. Individuals suffering from reactive attachment disorder can have fluctuating moods, have a strong desire to control their environment, and have an overwhelming need to make their own decisions. Throughout the show, Eleanor shows clear symptoms that support this diagnosis. As mentioned previously, Eleanor's parents were very absent in her life. So as a child, she would not seek comfort from her caregivers when she was in distress, and she grew up like that, and that's the same way in her adulthood. She would not seek comfort when distressed. She never really made true friendships and true bonds because she just didn't want to allow herself to get close to anyone. Reactive attachment disorder is also characterized by the person having minimal social and emotional responsiveness towards others, which Eleanor, you can tell in the show. When someone's going through something, she kind of just says something off the wall, probably pretty rude, like she shouldn't have said, and almost to the point where she tries to bring it back to her because she likes being the center of attention. And being the center of attention, that brings me to another diagnosis, and that is histrionic personality disorder. Histrionic personality disorder is distinguished by a pattern of exaggerated emotional and attention-seeking behaviors. This is also called dramatic personality disorder. To make this diagnosis, you must have at least 5 or more symptoms from the following criteria: uncomfortable when not the center of attention, seductive or provocative behavior, shifting or shallow emotions, uses appearance to draw attention, impressionistic and vague speech, dramatic or exaggerated emotions, suggestible, meaning they're easily influenced by others, and or considers relationships more intimate than they are. Out of the list of requirements, I was able to pick out 5 that I felt fit Eleanor. First, Eleanor is extremely uncomfortable when she's not the center of attention. This can be seen when she's going out after work to parties in the good place. If she's not the center of attention and someone is complimenting someone else, she will mock them because she just feels threatened, so she immediately starts mocking them. She also has frequent shifting and shallow emotions, and this is clearly depicted during her time on Earth when she chose to work for a scam company. Eleanor does use her appearance to draw attention and have things her way, and Eleanor has used her looks several times for both financial and life gain. Eleanor also has very dramatic or exaggerated emotions throughout the show. Treatment for reactive attachment disorder as an adult can be tricky, but it's very similar to the treatment that's done in children. The treatment of reactive attachment disorder requires parental education and trauma-focused therapy. Teaching Eleanor empathy and compassion are key elements in building up her ability to trust. I think anyone that watches the show can agree that she has an issue trusting people throughout the seasons of The Good Place. Developing a relationship between Eleanor and her mother is the first step in overcoming the damage stemming from her severe neglect as a child. I do believe that this treatment is going to take some time for Eleanor. Learning to trust people is much easier said than done. I believe that Eleanor will also struggle rekindling her relationship with her mother. During one of the episodes in the show, she goes back and she visits her mother, and her mom is now married with a new daughter, and she's that typical PTA suburban mom, and she's involved in her daughter's life. She's a good wife, and ultimately that really hurts Eleanor because she felt like all along that she could have changed. Her mom could have changed and been a better mom, but Eleanor was not good enough to make her mom want to change and be a good mom. So I think that it's going to take some time for Eleanor, but it's doable. Treatment for histrionic personality disorder is psychotherapy. Supportive psychotherapy is the recommended treatment for patients with histrionic personality disorder. This type of therapy focuses on reducing emotional distress, improving Eleanor's self-esteem, and enhancing her coping skills. Another therapy that is recommended is psychodynamic psychotherapy. The goal of this type of therapy is to change the certain part of the patient's dysfunctional personality by revisiting those necessary development milestones that were previously missed throughout her childhood and young adulthood. This therapy aims to resolve the underlying issues as a patient is experiencing, giving them a better understanding of themselves so they can change their behavior. I believe that this treatment would be the most beneficial to Eleanor because it can help her work through all the trauma that she's experienced in her life. And I think that Eleanor does things and she doesn't even know that she does them as like a defense mechanism. Eleanor Shellstrop's life story and characteristics helped me be able to diagnose her. Coming to find a diagnosis for Eleanor is accredited to learning about several different diagnoses in abnormal psychology and the DSM-5 manual. The 5th edition, DSM-5. My conclusion of Eleanor was that she suffers from reactive attachment disorder and histrionic personality disorder. While making the diagnosis was the first step, I was also able to provide symptoms to support my conclusion and a treatment plan. I believe that psychotherapy would greatly benefit Eleanor on her journey to the true good place. Thank you. Sorry again.